So we've got a situation. The ball's sitting here at the base of a slight incline. As I walk up the hill, I'm able to see that there's a big slope in front of me. The pin is cut just barely onto the putting surface, and there's a slight little crown. It's kind of like a false front or a runoff area where I can maybe land my ball short if I want to do that. So at this point, what I see is I've got three options. I can fly the ball all the way there and have it spin with some bite. I can land it about halfway or 3/4 of the way and have it kind of jump up onto the green. The other option would be to roll it. So what I'm going to do is run through 64-degree wedge, putter, 9-iron, and a hybrid shot. The most important thing in short game creativity is being able to see all of your options. What's even more important, however, is being comfortable with the club that you decide to pick. You might quickly go through a checklist and say, all right, well, I haven't practiced the 64-degree spinner up onto the green very much. That's not even an option. I know how to putt, but I haven't really practiced putting with that one very often either. The hybrid, well, I've seen people use a hybrid, but I don't really know how to do it. The 9-iron, well, I've done this bump and run with a 9-iron before, so let's maybe pick that one because you're comfortable. Just because I have several options doesn't necessarily mean I want to play the one that I've seen on TV the most, which might be the spinning wedge. I'm going to quickly demonstrate each of them for you. As you swing a high lofted wedge back and forth, one of the most important things to do is to be very stable with your legs. When you're stable with your legs, you can allow the club to move past and through the impact space without any manipulation or any excess weight shift. I'm going to hit this shot for you with an open face, aiming slightly left. Main thing is to stay balanced and not run my weight up the hill. The tendency in this shot is to kind of lean into the hill because conversely your weight is falling back. Open face, stable stance, gripping to a height that I can release the club from, and then I'm going to stay right here with my weight. I'm not going to allow it to shift. So here's the 64-degree wedge. Very balanced feet, lots of spin, landed on the green close to the hole. Next option, putter. When you're looking at your options, most short game shots involve two distinct options: fly it all the way there or roll it all the way there. The first option was fly it all the way there. This is roll it all the way there. I'm going to now take a putter and do the same thing, swinging my arms back and forth. As you're visualizing this shot, the very beginning stages of this shot need to be struck powerfully and solidly. The ball is going to decelerate quickly with the friction of the grass and the hill. The worst mistake that you could make from here with the putter is to only cut it halfway up the hill and have it roll all the way back to your feet. Even if I hit this too far, I've got plenty of green on the other side. I'll have a much better chance of making a putt on the putting green rather than trying to run a second shot up this hill. One of the things that most people run into when hitting a kind of a hard putt, almost a full swing putt, is that they haven't really practiced it. It's very important to do several practice swings back and forth and to notice where it is that that putter is swinging. One other thing that you may decide to do is actually alter your grip. A lot of people have different putting grips, backhanded, reverse overlap. My suggestion would be to try your chipping grip with the putter. That way you can actually allow for a little bit of wrist hinge, and that'll give you the force that's required. So I'm going to take my normal full swing grip, set up to the ball slightly closer than normal, and as I swing, my main goal, make sure I get it all the way there. Don't leave it short. Okay, so I banged it up the hill, pretty good speed, crept over the crest and rolled out. The next two options, the bump and run with a 9-iron and a bump and run with a hybrid. The bump and run with a 9-iron may be more comfortable for most people. I prefer hitting a bump and run with a 9 or a 7-iron when I'm in this type of situation. And the reason is I've practiced it a lot. I don't have to be as precise by landing it all the way there, and I don't really practice my putter off the green that much. So this is a much more comfortable shot for me. The most important rule here is choosing the club based on the incline of the slope. If you're hitting a shot in, and let's say the slope looks like this, you're going up an incline, if your trajectory of your ball from the bottom of that slope is now coming in at too high of a loft, it's actually going to hit the side of that hill essentially from a vertical position. The side of the hill is like this, so let's say it's 45 degrees, and your ball is coming in at 45 degrees. That's effectively coming in straight down. So a lot of the speed is going to get killed because you're coming almost straight down on it, just like if you were to throw a ball up in the air and have it land straight on the ground. When you're coming up a slope like this, you never want the trajectory of your shot to match the slope. You don't want a 45 degree descent onto a 45 degree hill because it's just going to stay right there. So what you want to be able to do is look at the slope and say, what can I produce that still tracks the slope fairly low? You don't want it to come in too high. When I play my 9-iron bump and run, I play it off the back of my stance, keeping the face very, very square. And even though this is a 9-iron, it's going to take off up the slope and release up the hill rather than flying into the slope and stopping. Maybe a 56 degree or a pitching wedge would land all the way up the top and come in on that angle we're talking about. So I'm going to take my 9-iron, play it in the back of my stance, basically turns the loft more into like a 7-iron, and from here I'm going to swing it up the hill. What's important here, just like in the lob wedge, is you don't shift your weight into the hill. Keep your lower body stable and allow the club to swing up the incline. Don't counteract it and go into the side of the hill. So here's the 9-iron, swinging up the hill. Okay, as it goes up the hill, it tracks up the slope and then releases. Very comfortable shot for me. Growing up in Australia, hit a lot of bump and runs off of hard, firm turf. So I really like playing that shot anywhere I can. The hybrid. Essentially the same approach as the putter. The one main difference is that with the longer shaft and the different head material, the ball comes off the face with a lot more velocity. As it jumps off the face, this shot makes a lot of sense for a lot of people. Sometimes it's very difficult to take a putter and whack it hard enough to get it up the hill. With a hybrid, you don't get sucked into to overhitting it. This one you can swing almost exactly true to the same putt. So let's say I was on a putting green and I had a slope of this distance. The turf on the putting green is much tighter and I would swing it and roll it up the hill. Because I have a hybrid, what happens is it basically cancels out the height of the fairway grass and the velocity that comes off of a hybrid face. Those kind of cancel each other out. So in my mind, I play this as if I'm on the putting green and I'm just putting it up the hill. So if I was on the putting green, I would take my putting grip, which is a reverse overlap. I would grip down on it, take my putting stance, and then just stroke it. Stroke it up the hill just like I would a putter. So those are the 4 options. Like I said in the beginning, creativity is very important, but understanding which shot you're most comfortable with, in essence the one you've practiced the most, that's the way to get really good at producing good short game shots. My name is Craig Hocknull. If you're interested in working with me on any form of your short game, there's going to be a website at the end of this video. You'll be able to type that in to the URL bar on your computer and contact me directly, and I'll be able to help you be even more creative with your short game. We'll see you soon.